So this is part 4 of The Fisherman and His Soul, page 207 of complete shorter fiction. There we are. I shall read from 1442 to 1447. The young fisherman's eyes filled with tears when he heard the bitter words of the priest, and he rose up from his knees and said to him, "Father, the fawns live in the forest and are glad. And on the rocks sit the mermen with their harps of red gold. Let me be as they are, I beseech thee, for their days are as the days of flowers. And as for my soul, what doth my soul profit me if it stands between me and the thing that I love? The love of the body is vile," cried the priest, knitting his brows, "and vile and evil are the pagan things God suffers to wander through his world. Accursed be the fawns of the woodland, and accursed be the singers of the earth. I have heard them at night time, and they have sought to lure me from my beads. They tap at the window and laugh. They whisper into my ears the tale of their perilous joys. They tempt me with temptations, and when I would pray, they make mouths at me. They are lost. I tell thee, they are lost. For them there is no heaven nor hell, and in neither shall they praise God's name." "Father," cried the young fisherman, "thou knowest not what thou sayest. Once in my net I snared the daughter of a king. She is fairer than the morning star and whiter than the moon. For her body I would give my soul, and for her love I would surrender heaven. Tell me what I ask of thee, and let me go in peace." "Away, away," cried the priest. "Thy layman is lost, and thou shalt be lost with her." And he gave him no blessing, but drove him from his door. And the young fisherman went down into the marketplace, and he walked slowly, and with bowed head, as one who is in sorrow. And when the merchants saw him coming, they began to whisper to each other. And one of them came forth to meet him, and called him by name, and said to him, "What hast thou to sell?" I would sell thee my soul," he answered. "I pray thee buy it of me, for I am weary of it. Of what use is my soul to me? I cannot see it, I may not touch it, and I do not know it." But the merchants mocked at him, and said, "What use is a man's soul to us? It is not worth a clipped piece of silver. Sell us thy body for a slave, and we will clothe thee in a sea purple, and put a ring upon thy finger, and make thee the minion of the great queen. But talk not of the soul, for to us it is naught, nor has it any value for our service." And the young fisherman said to himself, "How strange a thing this is! The priest telleth me that the soul is worth all the gold in the world, and the merchants say that it is not worth a clipped piece of silver." And he passed out of the marketplace, and went down to the shore of the sea, and began to ponder on what he should do. And at noon he remembered how one of his companions, who was a gatherer of samphire, had told him of a certain young witch who dwelt in a cave. The head of the bay was very cunning in her witcheries. And he set to and ran, so good was he to get rid of his soul, and a cloud of dust followed him as he sped round the sand of the shore. By the itching of her palm the young witch knew his coming, and she laughed, and let down her red hair. "Oh, hello." With her red hair falling round her, she stood at the opening of the cave, and in her hand she had a spray of wild hemlock that was blossoming. "What do you lack? What do you lack?" she cried, as he came panting up the steep, and bent down before her. "Fish for thy net when the wind is foul? I have a little reed pipe, and when I blow on it, a mullet came sailing into the bay. But it has a price, pretty boy. It has a price. What do you lack? What do you lack? A storm to wreck the ships and wash the chests of rich.
Treasure ashore, I have more storms than the wind has, for I serve one who is stronger than the wind, and with a sieve and a pail of water I can send the great galleys to the bottom of the sea. But I have a prize, pretty boy, I have a prize. What do you lack? What do you lack? I know a flower that grows in the valley. None knows it but I. It has purple leaves and a star in its heart, and its juice is as white as milk. Shouldst thou touch with this flower the hard lips of the queen, she would follow thee all over the world. Out of the bed of the king she would rise, and over the whole world she would follow thee. It has a price, pretty boy, it has a price. What do you lack? What do you lack? I can pound a toad in a mortar and make broth of it, and stir the broth with a dead man's hand. Sprinkle it on thine enemy while he sleeps, and he will turn into a black viper, and his own mother will slay him. With a wheel I can draw the moon from heaven, and in a crystal I can show thee death. What do you lack? What do you lack? Tell me that thy desire, and I will give it thee, and thou shalt pay me a price. Pretty boy, thou shalt pay me a price.